Hi, the first anchor we're going to build for you today and evaluate is the sliding X. And if we zoom in here on the anchor board, what you're going to need for this set of anchors, or for this anchor rather, is 4 locking carabiners, and then you're going to need those 2 shoulder length runners. First thing you're going to do when building this anchor is to clip a locking carabiner through each one of the expansion bolts that you're going to use. And I'm just going to use 2 bolts today for this anchor. And then I'm going to take my slings, I'm going to unroll them. I'm going to take a look at them. And what you're going to notice with these slings is that they have a bar tack or a set of threads that are sewn that actually holds the runner together into a loop. And my goal when building this anchor is going to keep both of these bar tacks completely out of any involvement with the carabiners or with the master point. So I'm going to pair them up, the gray and the blue, and I'm going to clip them through one locking carabiner and then through the other. And then I'm going to make sure that these bar tacks are slid pretty close to the carabiner but not over the axis of it. And then I'm going to lock these 2 carabiners down. It's going to be an important thing that you learn to check religiously when you build these anchors. I'm going to take the space in between these 2 carabiners. Here's these 2 slings. I'm going to pull them down. Pull the 2 slings down until I've made sort of a smiley face here. And if I imagine this is the top lip of that smile, I'm going to grab it and flip it over to make a loop. And through that loop, I'm going to clip my locking carabiners. I'm going to clip one, go ahead and clip one through it, and then I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to clip the other 2 loops through it. Let's unclip that and take a look at that again, because creating that loop is the most important part of building this anchor. It's what is the key to the entire anchor. You take the top lip, you flip it over to make a loop, take one of your locking carabiners and put through it, and then you capture the bottom 2 loops through that same carabiner. Pull that down till it's tight. Now, once we have one carabiner in, you want to drop the other carabiner through the same path. And what I like to do is clip it through and then flip it over. And what you'll notice down here at the master point is that I have one gate on one side, one gate on the opposite side. And then through these two gates, I can clip my rope. Once I've clipped my rope through, before I put weight on it, I'm going to lock these 2 carabiners down, and then I'm going to evaluate this anchor. Remember, that acronym that we talked about was RENE, R-E-N-E, standing for redundancy, equalization, and no extension. So let's take this anchor and analyze it now. Is it redundant? Well, yes, it's redundant because if the blue sling were to get compromised, the gray sling would hold. If this leg were to fail, because we put that twist down here, let's see what happens. But because we put that twist in the anchor, if this leg were to fail, it still holds. The carabiners do not slide off. They're captured. They stay on the anchor still holds. So is it redundant? Yes, this anchor is definitely redundant. We have two carabiners at the master point, so should one of them fail, the other one holds. Yes. So in this way, we have found that this anchor is redundant and satisfies that R in RENE. Is it equalized? Well, if I pull down on it, this leg holds as well as this leg. They share the weight of the anchor, the weight that's on the anchor, so it's also equalized. And in fact, this anchor is special because it equalizes not only in a single direction, but if for some reason I were to shift the direction of pull, look at that, it still equalizes. That's the beauty of the sliding X, is it slides backwards and forwards, or from one side to the other rather, and in doing that it equalizes over a long range. But then what you will see, as in all anchors, is that there's a trade-off. And there's a trade-off between equalization and extension at the master point. So, while this anchor does satisfy redundancy and equalization, in fact, it hyper covers the equalization because it covers over a range, what you'll find is that there is some extension at the master point, right? So if this leg were to fail, watch the master point. It slides down probably a good 9 inches before it catches. Now, turns out that 9 inches is probably not enough to produce a catastrophic failure in the entire anchor. However, there is some extension. And if you were worried about either of these legs, you know, then maybe this is not the anchor to use. However, if you worried that the direction of pull is going to change while the climber is on the climb, maybe they're going to start out climbing on this side, but then they're going to traverse way over while on the climb to this side, or maybe you have one climb set up on the anchor for this, and then they're going to climb over here on another climb, well then maybe this is the anchor for you. Again, we're adding tools to your toolbox so that you can choose which of these tools to use on the given climb that you're on. So that is the Sliding X.